All right, you're asking for it, so here it is.
Epicast.
Listen to this.
I want you fucks laughing at we partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, swinging, all that shit, dog. We sweating, getting wet, and all that.
All right. Welcome to the 247th episode of the Drinking Partners Podcast. Yes, this is our Tom Glavine episode because much like our last episode, he took his team to a World Series, painted corners, perfected his craft, man. Tom Glavine was one of my favorite pitchers. I loved Greg Maddux. Smoltz was all right, but Tom Glavine was dope. Fuck them for beating the Indians in the World Series, so I don't like that. But I got to give respect for somebody who perfects their craft. And I think that's what we're getting to, perfecting the craft, painting the corners, hitting our spots. Man. That's what I love to hear. You know what I'm saying? As always, I'm half of your hosting tandem, Ed Bailey. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Dave Bracey. Say what up to the people.
What's good with you people? We are the Drinking Partners, and if you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Google Play, and Spotify under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. 247 episodes, man. We've been asking you, and we will continue to ask you. Please hop on iTunes, hop on Facebook, rate and review. That's how we know we're doing well. That's how we continue to do well, and that's how we let others know that we're doing well.
Get it. Fight through it. It's episode 202. Fight through it. Listen, you love us. Please. You see us out in public. You tell us that you love us. Now, at the click of a button, please tell the internet. Please tell the world. Tell everybody. Tell your family, friends, associates, friend of a friend, whatever, Underground Railroad, whatever, man. We just need y'all to tell everyone that Drinking Partners is what's up. You love us and that they should tune in, all right? And as always, I've said it 246 times. I'm going to say it for the 247th time. I'm going to say it 247 more times. We need y'all to understand that in lieu of rates and reviews, we do accept shots of Hennessy.
It's
all right?
working, man.
We got Henny on the table because a whole ass brewery decided we gonna send them the VSOP 375 milliliter. I don't know what size bottle that is. They found an exclusive bottle size.
Straight metric.
The big flask. They sent us the big flask.
You got the metric on the side.
They sent us several shots. Hey, look, shout out to Car Guy DJ, a.k.a. James Logbo, a.k.a. I'm Getting Money, and the Conways for starting the trend. Shout out to everybody who's kept the trend going. Shout out to all the love that we've received out and about town, man. We love y'all. Or we like y'all. I don't know.
We fucks with y'all very heavily, man.
We fucks with y'all. I don't know how heavily. You know what I mean? Some of y'all weird. But you're not weird if you have Henny in your hand, and we give you so many opportunities to bring us Hennessy. The next one will be March 21st. We will be a part of the Burning Bridges Comedy Festival. Every third Saturday, we're down at Arcade Comedy Theater. It's such a great show that they decided to incorporate that into the festival. And we got the big homie Tim Ross in the building. Yeah. Swing for the fences, man. Check that out. It's on all the platforms, iTunes, whatever, Spotify, all the other shits that you get comedy. Who else is in the building? Oh, as always,
this has been Ronud.
And then on the 22nd, we got Chris Harris coming in from Toledo, Black Frog.
Ohio.
Yeah, coming through.
This has also been Corona'd.
We might see Bill down there, you know what I mean? But if you can't get it down there, you can definitely get it August 8th in Allentown, Pittsburgh, 15210 at Fresh Fest. Beer Fest, the first and only black beer festival in America.
We didn't do it on the last one. I gotta do my shit.
We got 150 vendors, 50 collaborations, 30 black brewers, 9 stages. Man, we got some trolleys running through this motherfucker, man. It's gonna be insane. Do not drive. Do not drive to this festival, man.
To this festival.
Do not drive to this festival.
Come enjoy yourself.
Why are people driving to festivals in 2020, man? I have no idea, but we were making sure that you do not have to do so. August 8th, man, it's history in the making. We're always pushing the envelope, and we have, sponsored by Work Hard Digital, out here working hard. We've been here 5 years now in this basement, and we're bringing it back, full circle to Block Party, the freshest in America, maybe some Bridge the Gap will be in the building. I don't know. We'll have to talk to Bill.
I'm gonna get me like a holster belt. and just have like a bridge the gap, like just be walking around like spinning it like a Wyatt Earp and shit and drinking. That's gonna be dope, man. I'm living in the area. It's just gonna be like if you've been to 1 and 2, you already know the vibes. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't, you've heard about them. You need to bring your ass through, man. We're doing it for the city. We're doing it, out in the city streets. Great venues, man. Just walking around having a good time, man. It's a great community. We've been up here. We've enjoyed, and we've been able to, grow up here. So it's great to bring it back. You know what I mean? And it's going to be a good time, man. I don't think there's anything else to be said.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into our episode because I have been sitting here trying my damnedest to remember how we have to introduce our guest, and I'm going to fuck it up because I said it. I said I'm going to fuck it up. So here we go. All right, there's a lot of fucking repetitive C's in this joint, all right?
Hit them.
So we have the concept creator of the Tavern, and a cocktail connoisseur out in this Pittsburgh, out in these Pittsburgh streets. We got Denise Greenway in the building. Say what up to the people. Landed.
I'm so proud of you for not messing that up, man.
Landed.
That was
He stepped back like,
People all
ooh.
breathe though.
That was
What I mean? Because I had y'all nervous like I was fucking it up. Because on 2 or 2, I've been drinking that.
I was like, I already got the first one. Is he going to get the second? Will he do it?
I didn't listen. I was not confident. There was a lot of C's, but we like to thank you for coming through. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate having you in.
I
And
want you to do it like a straight blood.
Oh,
okay. Hold on. Here we go. All right. Damn, now I forgot. All right. So we got the concept creator of the Tavern. You know what I'm saying? We got a cocktail connoisseur running these Pittsburgh streets. You know what I'm saying? We got Denise Greenway in the building.
Nailed it.
nice.
Nailed it. That happened.
Welcome to the cast.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
This is as I understand, you are a legend in these streets, and you're continue to push the envelope even further with the Tavern. I guess tell us who you are and how you came to be involved in this new project.
Yeah, so I actually was an Olympic weightlifter, and I ran gyms all across America, but I'm a single mom. So early on in life, right after actually I turned 18, I started bartending. Never wanted to be a bartender. Had no interest in it, but I needed cash. So I've been bartending for a decade. In 2019, it was 10 years.
That's wild. I always
Is
wanted
that
to be
legal?
a bartender.
Yeah. In the South, they'll let you pour as much as you want.
Okay. I'm talking about at 18.
They don't care.
At 18, you can bartend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got
That's
thrown
crazy.
behind the bar and kind of figured it out. But being a creative mind, it's always been a passion of mine. I do photography, I paint, I do digital artwork and stuff. So it's just something that I've always been able to kind of lean back on to fill that creative void. I came to Pittsburgh actually to run a gym back in 2017, and the gym closed down. But I loved Pittsburgh. There was something about like being in this city that I just felt like was home. And everybody's like, "Why don't you live in the South? It's so warm." I'm like, I don't know, man. I kind of dig the like cold snow and the like nasty
Weird as hell.
ground outside.
Southern-
Well, I mean, you
Weird as
got
hell.
you got a lot of tattoos, so I'd imagine you're used to pain. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think it's
so,
good
like,
for you. I think the crazy ass Pittsburgh weather, man, it builds some like sturdiness to your soul. You
I
know?
don't agree.
I mean, we had Dan on. He was doing the cryo thing. He was saying how you got to shock your system in order to get all the shit flowing, and I mean, like, so
Yeah.
you
That's a
always want-
one-time. Yeah, I mean, that's
We in and you out. This is all day, every day.
This is April through March.
Yeah, we live in it year
Yeah,
round.
we
There's
out
like very
here.
little sunshine.
Where in the
anymore.
South? Where in the South were you?
I'm from Athens, Georgia.
All right, Athens. That's did they do an Olympics there? or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
Atlanta, but yeah,
Athens.
Like right at-
Athens. I know they
it
did
went
Atlanta.
through-
Athens sound familiar. Something's
yeah.
down
The
there
University of Georgia is there.
Oh, Okay, UGA's out. All right, I know I heard
REM's
that.
from there.
REM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
You got the
went
Georgia
from-
Theater. It burned down. It was a whole big deal.
No, I think UGA is probably the
UGA.
extent of my knowledge.
I'm like, where am I going to hit it? I'm waiting for a light bulb to go off.
UGA is probably the extent of my knowledge of Athens. So now you're in Olympic weightlifting or whatever, and then you go into bartending. How do you? Because it seems like the two would be.
You know what?
contradictory to each other.
One of my favorite coaches actually was an Olympic weightlifter, and at night he was a bouncer.
But that seemed like it go together. Bouncers be strong as shit.
Strong dudes
But
standing
it
outside.
almost feels like with bartending, and I do admire what bartenders do.
You gotta be a man. Shit, you telling them about a bunch of drunk motherfuckers.
But that's what I'm saying. But so
you-
being drunk isn't conducive to optimal like conditioning either. So it just feels weird that she went from there directly to that. So
I think well, I've always been an athlete, and so I started bartending before I started weightlifting, and then when I started becoming a part of the weightlifting community, I sort of fell into it. One day, somebody was like, "Hey, I don't know if you know this, but you're super strong," and I was like, "What?" Nah, I'm literally just in here having fun. He was like, "No, man, you should go do a competition." And I think the stress of bartending is something that I thrive off of. I'm like someone who I do well in chaos, and so just like that, like when you weightlift, everything is chaos and it becomes quiet, and that's what I love. And so, I moved back here last year, and I really committed to coming back into Pittsburgh and trying to build the community, because I felt like when I was here, that was what was so great, was like you could go anywhere and everybody was like, "What do you do? We're going to support you. Like if you're part of our city, it doesn't matter if you're from here or not. We're going to support you in anything you do. Oh, you want to paint a weird ass brick on the wall? Cool. We're going to tell everybody it's the dopest thing that's ever happened." And so I came back here, and that was a big push that I've been doing, is trying to find bartenders in the city and, bring them into our community, and anything they need, we help with. We have one of the biggest actual USBGs in the United States. And so we have more bartenders that are willing to grow and learn and build a community than anywhere else. So, I think that's super unique for us, even more than Philadelphia.
What's the USBG?
The United States Bartenders Guild.
All right.
So it's like
I almost had that in my head. I'm like, that sounds like United States Bartenders Group.
No, we're a
I was
guild.
like,
We're a guild, like a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
We get together and we do classes. We go and learn how specific things are made. Sometimes we literally just get together and get drunk. You know what I mean?
You got to have a little bit of that.
Yeah, but it's a community, and we're trying to build a Pittsburgh as a bigger place for. People think about New York and all these amazing bars that are in New York, but Pittsburgh has some amazing bars and some people who go out and compete nationally here and win these huge awards, and no one knows.
So what makes an amazing bar? Because I've been to New York. Those are,
And you're like, nah.
it's like New York always gets the boost of being New York. You know what I'm saying? So they might put something up on the 34th floor, and it's like, this is an amazing bar, but there ain't nothing really crazy about it. Like, so what, to you being in the industry, what makes a really good bar?
I think it's all about the passion. And I tell this to people all the time, whenever I hire a new bartender, I'm training a new person, like, don't come into anything in life in general and not be passionate about it. If you can't be passionate about it, find something else. Like, it's totally cool to, be weird and different, but, don't drag everyone else down if you're not passionate. If you walk into a good bar and that bartender is just psyched on whatever, it could be like a goddamn White Claw, and she's like, "This is the best White Claw I've ever had." Like, as long as he's like, "Nah, I'm not a White Claw person.
Not
it's
a
just
big
a vodka
White Claw.
soda in a can, but whatever.
It's
With
a flavor
shittier
Zima.
liquor.
It's a flavor Zima.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all a good bar is. It's just passionate people. If you can walk into a Park House over in the north side, and
was it Ziggy? Is that
Z? Yeah,
Z.
yeah.
We used to do shows over there.
Yeah, you walk in there and like, they don't have like the coolest spirits on the wall or like the greatest of beer. They've got some damn good beer, but when you walk in there, they're just hype on where they are and like what they're doing. I think that's what really makes like a great fucking bar.
An atmosphere, a culture.
Yeah. A culture, yeah. What is it? 6 Point Brewing, they're saying is beer's culture. And when I read that, I was like, that's so true, because how many things do you do, whether it's like a drink or a beer or just being in a bar, and you look around and you're just full of fucking culture, because it brings everybody together, which is what makes a great bar. You've got great patrons. You walk into a shitty bar, you also start noticing there's a lot of shitty people.
Ain't that the truth? That's why I really like breweries. I guess that ties in all the brewery shit. Like, there's a culture that's created. There's an understanding. You meet different types of people. And I tell people all the time, like, you could go to a bar and you get motherfuckers that's there to get drunk, or you go to a brewery and you're there with people who are there to experience the atmosphere.
Right.
You're just there to be be out and about, enjoy. You might see somebody with their kids. You might see somebody with their dog. You might see somebody on a date. You might see somebody who's just sampling a bunch of beers. But everybody has like a target. Like everybody has a purpose to be in a brewery. It feels like it doesn't seem like somebody's just there just getting fucked up and getting drunk. Like I've never seen someone getting drunk out of a brewery. Now that I think about it, like
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that
I'm sure it happens.
It happens.
It ain't happened on the night I was there.
Yeah,
is
no,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
yeah, typically, if you can afford it in some regard, and yeah, there's a whole, yeah, I mean, this is anything like, I mean, like when you put together a thing, a place of anything or whatever, like you attract like-minded individuals there, and what you tolerate in your establishment is going to set the bar for the type of people or whatever that you have there or whatever. So if you have a shitty ownership, if you have shitty management, then you're going to have a shitty environment because they're letting motherfuckers do that shit. They're not cutting people off. They're not like, policing. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole thing. I mean,
yeah, everybody is a win to a capitalist. Like everyone who's there to spend money is a win. Right. You know what I mean? Like if you're here to spend money, cool, we're gonna let you in. We're gonna let you hang around because you're here to spend money. But like it seems like with these breweries and with these places where younger people are affecting the atmosphere more, it's like we need not a certain type of person, but a person with a certain mindset. Someone who's here with a certain...
It's the educated drinkers. I mean, I think that's what Pittsburgh's doing, and I'm a huge person that wants to walk around. I want to see everything local that's coming out. And that's why at the Tavern, I only sell Pennsylvania spirits, Pennsylvania beer. And preferably, I like to stay hyper local. Like if you can try this beer and you can walk down to this brewery, that's even better for me because you're going to get to experience what that brewer had in mind and their place and their vision, and not just, you're just having a fucking beer. Like you're going to get a whole thing out of it.
So wait, say that again. Only local,
only local, man. I have an R license, so I can sell anything I want. I could have, 17 cases of Tito's, and I choose not to. I choose to have, like Boyd and Blair and Big Springs vodka and things that are local to our area, because why would I go out? We make so much great alcohol. Why am I going to go out and support all these other states, which I'm glad that they make great stuff. But if we as a community want to have like a standalone and people to know that we're here and we're making a presence, then we've got to have our bars like supporting our people. I don't want to go out and have like all these other brewers there. I want my brewers there. I want Pittsburgh there, Yeah. But it goes back to like we were talking about what makes a good drinker. Education. The people that you have in your establishment, if you can educate them on how to be better drinkers, where did the hops come from? Where oh, you like the way that this tastes. Why do you like it? Well, now if you know what it is that you like, when you go anywhere, you're more educated, so you're more willing to step outside of your boundaries and try other things and support the people who do the weird and abnormal.
So as a bartender, how much of it is bartending? How much of it is educating? Because like bartending is so hectic. Right. I might not have the time to sit with you and educate you, so to speak. And then a lot of that from the consumer standpoint, and maybe it's because of the atmosphere you built, like, you know what I mean? Like, people get so needy in the bar. I've been in clubs at the bar, and people, the club bar, you're not going to get an education.
Yeah, you ain't getting an education.
You ain't getting shit but what you order, and you might not get that if this girl next to you is a little bit prettier, like, I'm going to skip over you, fam. So, like, how much of your job is I'm educating this person?
And what a life. Whenever you sitting there and you order something, you pay for it, and you get skipped over.
No, that don't happen. Ain't no hat. That's why you got to take cash. You ain't getting no bread till I get my drink. We're going to flip this on you. You might not get paid. I might walk the fuck off, but nah, I always get what I pay for. But how much is education? How much is actual, I guess, customer service?
So I think they go hand in hand. I think that it's, our responsibility as bartenders to be better educated and therefore to spread that education. When I'm standing in my cocktail well and I'm stirring a drink, if someone looks down and they're staring at my drink, I'll explain, like fun little tidbits. Oh, did you know that the reason the spoon is made this way is for this reason? Or the reason you stir it this like precise is for this purpose. And I think just being customer service is just being nice to people and sitting there and just telling people what you do and what you're passionate about. They respect that so much more. And it makes them feel that they're at home. When you're at your house and your mom's making pasta, she's talking to you about it. She's like, oh, yeah, come make this recipe with me. Well, I can't have these people behind my bar, but I can explain to them what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
So I would imagine cocktails are huge. And it's like, I mean, that's such a crazy world because it's so vast, and there seems to be like
So vast,
many.
man.
I mean, every part of the world has their way of like mixing up alcohol in some way. I mean, so where do you get with these local spirits and whatnot? Like, where do you get like the influences for your menu and recipes and things of that nature?
So I'm someone who, I mean, just like when you have a child, you start from the bottom, you work up, right? So at the Tavern, we have all of our hyperlocal beers are all unique items. These aren't beers that these brewers make year round. These are the ones that the brewers were like, I want to do something fun. What is this? What's this fun project I'm going to do? That's the beer that I carry. So these things that come out, I pick, and people come in and they're like, I don't think I want that. That sounds strange. And I find a way to make them like it. Whether I take, I took the Hop Farm Margot Berry and I dumped gin in it, and everybody was like, what are you doing? And I was like, it's fantastic, because the typical drinker was like, can't drink this, it's too tart. So I put gin in it, smoothed it out. And they were like, oh, nice. I started barrel aging beer cocktails, which I was like, all right, no one's ever done this. I'm going to fuck it up. I'm going to taste
So
it.
you
Can't fuck
make
it
it-
up
nasty.
if it's not been done. It's
You
not
make
fucked up.
you make a beer cocktail
Yeah.
And then
and then barrel age it.
Yep.
What is a beer cocktail?
So a beer cocktail, I know Paris was one of the first places to do it. Everybody was sipping wine during the day, and all these companies were making beer, and no one was drinking it. So all these bars in Paris were like, what the fuck? How do we get people to drink beer? So they started dumping alcohol into it, and they were like, all right, we're gonna make you a margarita with a little bit of lager in it. Let's see if you like it. So it's been going on for forever, but it's not as common. Pittsburgh is definitely picking up on beer cocktails, but it's pretty sensitive.
I'm gonna be honest with you. We've been doing that in Cleveland for a while. What you do?
Oh, boy.
Cleveland, you got your Great Lakes like this, right? You got your Great Lakes here, and then you got the small plastic cups. They like this, the clear
yeah.
ones. You put the shot right here, and you drink the shot, and you drink the beer. It's a mocktail.
Yeah.
It's
So-
a Cleveland
yeah.
special. You got one
So
between here, one
Pittsburgh
between the other
Boilermakers.
fingers.
That's what you were doing. You were
Yeah.
doing a Pittsburgh
So
Boilermakers.
it's just like a cocktail. I mean, you have your selected twist that you
Right.
like, and some of the old heads will take some of the beer and pour it in the shot, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Depending on your fucked upness.
So-
now it's born in a different, a different kind of view, but the same sort of thing.
I mean,
Beer and-
so is it? And
cocktails go together.
here's the thing that I have been so the fucking industry. If you talk about the industry, these motherfuckers, right? Because you see all these rap labels and all these lyrics on the side of these cans and all this.
Right.
So they ain't not a motherfucker that had a hand in making it or selling whatever. You get all these, and one of the original and most delicious of beer cocktails made popular here in America was the Brass Monkey, and that is white as it can be, and and the industry can claim that, and yet, in the age of all these juicies, in the age of all these beer mosas, we have not made Brass Monkey
Right.
a
I actually
term.
have Brass Monkey.
Do you have
on
Brass?
my menu.
I mean, I think.
Brass
Thank
Monkey.
you. What is it with
We've
the
actually, the Pennsylvania markets carried Brass Monkey since November of last year.
Like,
It's been
where-
on our menu.
Where's is that you carrying the torch?
Yeah. You know what else we do that I felt like hit off real quick that then died down was the Saffron Amaro with the T-Funk. That's a damn good beer cocktail. Technically it's a Boilermaker, right? So like Boilermakers in Pittsburgh were huge. You get out of the, work your overnight shift and you go down to Permanis and you have a Yingling and a Four Roses. And that's what was, like the common drink. You have your Yingling, you take a shot of Four Roses bourbon, move on with your fucking day. So instead, what I do is I have craft Boilermakers. So I find really unique beers out of Pittsburgh. And then I find a Pennsylvania spirit that's got something similar or something that's going to help hype that beer, right? So like if when this beer came out, it was made with lemon zest, but I feel like it just didn't have enough of that lemon zest to where like the normal drinker could taste it. Because if you have a really developed palate, you'll pick up on those small notes, right? But these people are like, well, you said it's got lemon zest in it. I don't taste it. There's a vodka that's made with lemon zest. Put a little bit of that in there. You have a Boilermaker because you've got a shot, you got a beer. It's just pre-blended. And it helps bring out those like hidden flavors of that beer. So we have a whole Boilermaker menu. It's all hand selected.
And it's local. It's local
all
beer
local.
paired with local
Spirits,
spirit.
yeah.
That's wow.
And then we do cocktails out of that too, where you have like other citruses you can, mix and match things.
So the bartending industry or the cocktail industry, there seems to be, and I don't know, I'm not in the cocktail industry of sorts, but I see more of like their clubs, the guild, you got Radical Exchange, you got all these places that are like, all right, we're promoting cocktails and cocktail makers. You know what I mean? Like how have you seen in your time in the industry, how have you seen it change over time?
Like when I first started, I felt like there was no like support. Like you were either one of those guys that were like 32 and you worked at this like fancy bar in LA and did a bunch of competitions and then you just like ended up rich, like it seemed like there was no like how-to guide kind of like, hey, you seem like you're really good at what you do. Let us get you there. Now I feel like it's you. If you are passionate about what you do, there is so many avenues that you can take, even down to going and working for Patron just because you won a competition. Like they've given us such a platform, and with that platform, that's what I was saying earlier about the education. That becomes our responsibility now, right? Is to go back and these people that make these amazing beers, they never get in front of anybody. They don't get to go out and, mostly because they probably don't fucking want to. They're like, I want to make my beer. I want to drink my beer. I want you to buy it. I want to go. Because a lot of times brewers tend to be a lot introverted. Mm-hmm. So instead...
We struggle with that.
Yeah. So it's the bartender's jobs to go out and be like, oh, this brewery's rad. Like their head brewer is X, Y, and Z. Like he prefers to do this style or this is where he's from. And because we are the extroverts, it is now our responsibility to educate the public about all these amazing brands. Even down to, I remember I convinced, I do education classes. And so I teach people about classic cocktails, about the way spirits are made, how to drink them, how to find out how you should drink them. And everybody doesn't have the same flavor. We're going to do beer classes down in the Tavern coming soon. But, we were talking to people about Hennessy and people were like, this old lady, she's like, I don't drink Hennessy. I'm not a rapper. And I was like, well,
what?
You made a bad choice. I was
Bring her on the
do you like your
podcast.
community? She was like, yeah. I was like, do you donate money to like small children in need, stuff like that, like nonprofits? She was like, yeah. I was like, well, Hennessy's one of the biggest donators to, anyone in need. Their whole thing is that they're going to fight oppression anywhere, whether it's, racial, whether it's segregation based on, like sexism, whether it's the LGBTQ community. They're huge on supporting them.
I'm going to be honest.
But that's our job.
I never in my life thought a white woman would educate me on Hennessy.
Yeah.
I just learned something, right?
I'm like, wait.
She
hold
just
on.
learned me something.
Yeah.
I'm drinking for a cause from now on.
Yeah, their
Slightly-
nonprofit is one of like the largest in the United States as far as like they donate to so many places that you'd be like, oh yeah, this Martin Luther King Cultural Center. Like, oh, I'm sure, just a bunch of people came together. No, it had to be funded from somewhere.
Them
Hennessy.
motherfuckers could donate to the drinking part as much as we've been saying.
Come on now, what are
As
they
long
doing?
as we've been saying, you know what I'm saying? I bought Nas' last album. I can connect the dots. I can connect the dots. I see what they doing. No, that's
So-
dope. So we got
I guess we
possible
have this,
mocktails on the table.
Yeah,
here.
is this a cocktail?
Is this a
Yeah,
mocktailable?
so shout out to Wiggle. Thanks, Pete.
Wiggle.
Wiggle is one of the companies. I'm down in the Strip District, so I support them a ton. And vice versa, they support me a ton. I was in their cocktail competition, had a fantastic time, and that was kind of one of the stepping stones to me opening up the Tavern and having that like kind of, what do you call it? Whenever the light bulb goes off, right? Was doing that and being like, damn, there's not a place in Pittsburgh that I feel like I can go to and I can find out about all these cool spirits and like what they do and all these rad beers and like share that. So I opened the Tavern and Wiggle's been a huge support. So Pete gave us a bottled old fashioned. So everything for the old fashions in there, you just need to add some ice.
Now, can we mocktail that, or do you just leave it as is?
Yeah, you're just going to put some ice in it and drink it.
Don't drink it as is. All right.
All
I
right.
don't think you need to. So the classics,
I don't be no
are
sucker.
something that we do a ton of. I don't think that people respect the classics enough. They've been around for longer than any of us have been alive, so we should really just drink more classic cocktails.
So I mean, how do you educate? I guess the youths on the various aspects of the industries without indoctrinating them to drink?
So it's not so much about the alcohol consumption, right? Like we were talking about at breweries, people sit down and they enjoy their beer. It's not just how much beer can I drink to get drunk. It's more so of the creativity that's behind these things, whether it's a cocktail, whether it's a beer, whether it's a wine. Who made this and why did they make it? What are these ingredients and how did they acquire those ingredients and how they put them together? And so it's more about teaching people that, yeah, that stupid idea that you had one time when you were on the bus, that idea can be like a reality. If you're sitting there and you're thinking about this weird movie, well, there are people who've done weirder things. There's, like some of the strange Mad Elf. When Mad Elf came around, everybody was like, you cannot make a beer that's got this kind of percentage. Like, what are you doing? This shit's weird. Well, I mean, look, it's on your table.
Yeah, no, it stay when it's available.
Yeah. So I mean, just getting the
youth.
youth to understand that it's, like I said, not about the alcohol consumption, but it's about the creativity behind it and the people who had that random one idea and went with it.
Mm. I mean, there's also, a great many people that it takes, to actually like work in the industry. You got numbers peoples, you got visions, you got management, there's a lot of people that make this industry go and a lot of different skill sets involved. And it's always like a weird thing to say like, hey kid, you could work in the beer industry. Like, but at the same time.
Gotta say beverage.
Yeah, with a beverage. The beverage industry. But at the same time, it is something that is an opportunity for them. We we kind of need young people to.
Well, it's smart. I mean, if everyone's being shooed away from it, it makes sense to be like, yo, why don't you look at this? Like, you can be an accountant. Like, look, the thing about being something like an accountant, right? The great thing about being an accountant is you can work anywhere. Like, you could be an accountant for anyone. If you're
Yeah, I mean, I'm a
graphic designer.
you could be
right.
graphic
I mean, yeah, like you can design this logo on this can, and you're now part of the beverage industry. So there are so many avenues in there. Personally, I'm more of the creative kind of a mindset. So things like, when we opened up the Tavern, I had to learn how to do all these fucking spreadsheets, and I was like, Jesus.
You're a concept breed.
I'm like, I can't be up here doing these spreadsheets, all this math, man. What the fuck? But there are people who have that mindset that, numbers are just what they do, and they can come into our community and they can be an asset to people, like myself that are more of that creative side, that I look at a spreadsheet and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Right. Because you could be so creative and get so crazy that you run the business into the ground. Like,
right. And
this
that
is
happens.
not sustainable. Your margins are off based on this. So let's doing boom, 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 because your margins will be here. You'll be able to sustain. I mean, you need everyone in every way. Now,
yeah.
When we look at
we need the youth too, because that's where everything's changing. I was talking to one of the owners of the Pennsylvania market today, and he was like, what do you mean share it on Instagram? And I was like, yeah, you share it. And he was like, how? Like screen? I'm like, no, man. But the youth understands our technology and our people better than anything. So, I like I said, I got into bartending at 18, but there's other places that they need help. And if there's somebody that, is like younger and they're like, well, I don't bartender, I don't know how to brew beer, but I'm really good at drawing, or I'm really good at, project management. That's a huge thing that like creatives are not good at, right? And trying to find what it is that they're good at and how they can lend it back to our community. I mean, you could take a brewery from nothing to amazing just with a better project manager.
So what are the trends in the mocktail industry?
Okay, so like I said, we don't have like a big community of this yet.
Okay.
But we did a long soft open. So our grand opening is actually on the 28th. We're still in our soft open until next Friday. From what I've seen of other people, they like the idea that every beer cocktail has this like sense of beer with it where it's like relaxed and calm, but that it also is like a little bit dumbed down in a way, like flavor wise, right? So when they're drinking a really strong stout, they're like, fuck, I can have one of these and then I got to be done. But if I can smooth it out a little bit with something else, a little bit of rum, a little bit of cream in there, maybe make it like a strange coffee drink.
I just crazy. Like when you say smooth it out with rum, Like, I
Hey,
mean,
some rum's smooth. You need better rum.
yeah. No, I mean, no. I'm thinking because the alcohol content
Right.
is
The
higher in
ABVs
rum.
do go up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that wouldn't necessarily make it harsher.
So that is kind of an issue that we end up having, right? Like you're like, oh my God, these are so good, and you have a couple of them, and you don't realize that you just took a beer that's like 6%, and you just turned that into a 14% beer whenever you added all this other stuff in there, and then people are like, okay, can I go back to like those were delicious, but at some point we got to chill out. So we do, I'll let people make their own if they want to try something weird. We do small versions. That are 6 ounces instead of like a big 16 ounce. So people can taste a little bit, but they don't have to commit to that full on ABV, right? And then on top of that, we always keep around like the good classics like Icy Light, Iron City. Like, so if you have a couple beer cocktails and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need to slow my roll. Yeah, grab an Icy Light. It's great.
You could also drink water.
You could also hydrate.
That's like an option there. But
yeah, but how much water you drink inside of a bar?
I drink pretty. I usually
You're
I'll
hydrated.
put myself
driving?
in the water closet. You know what I
Right,
mean? And I'll sit there for a minute.
like
Hydro homies.
am I driving? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
That needs to be like a gang that like goes
It's
around.
gotta be a
Pittsburgh.
gang.
And they just go
Hydro
to bars
homies?
and drink water.
We
The Hydro homies.
we keep the
Oh, I saw your
bottles
big
on
jug.
DUIs,
deck.
the DDs or whatever, they come through the Hydro Homie T-shirts. That's gonna be an app.
That'd
Gonna
nice.
be an app. You giving up all the money moves, so you gotta chill. We're gonna have a Hydro Homie.
that might be on the Fresh
I
Fest
saw
app.
something really cool. I'm doing a competition on the 27th for City Paper.
Oh shit! Tell us
And
more.
they did tickets this year for DDs. So you, instead
yeah,
of
Fresh
paying the
Fest.
$60 to like get this, a ticket where you drink alcohol, if you're going as a DD, because I mean, like, otherwise people aren't going to get DDs, which DDs are kind of like rare. I feel like with
Sounds
Uber and Lyft,
Fresh Fest.
But the option of having like a $15 ticket instead of a $60 ticket, just because you're like, all right, I'm not going to drink, I'm going to be the responsible person. I was like, that's dope. I mean, that's making sure that our community's safer, even though we're hosting this big thing where everybody just comes and gets drunk.
Yeah, no, I mean DD tickets are
Yeah.
literally a lifesaver.
Yeah.
If you don't have them at your drinking event, why?
Yeah.
That doesn't. I mean, like unless you're offering like something so like like if you have a whole other thing attached to it,
Right.
and it's like worth the value of the ticket, then cool. But if the alcohol is the main thing,
Yeah, that's the
you
seller,
should-
right?
Yeah,
You need
then
DD tickets.
You need
yeah.
a DD ticket.
I was like, I'm happy they're doing that.
Also, just encourage a diverse crowd of individuals to come. Like, say your event is more than just, when you look at Fresh Fest, like, make it more than a beer festival. You know what I mean? Make it a festival where beer is available. But if you don't want to partake in the beer, then fine. You can come here. You can actually get, a little bit of benefit. Boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? So that's, I don't know. I like that younger people are taking over shit. Like, I just like that younger people are affected. I feel like we're in this transition. It's weird because I feel like I'm getting old. But it's like this transition of like where younger individuals are putting their ideas into play. And it's across all industries. We just had Jerry Dickinson on and like just talking about how younger individuals are playing more into politics. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's something that you did. It's funny now. So I'm 33 years old and I'm at the point where a lot of my friends or people that I know are owning the things that I use. You know what I'm saying? Like a woman I went to school with, in college, owns the daycare that my children go to. Like that, I didn't
Right.
even conceive that happening, but
It's wild,
it's
right?
what happens. Like,
Yeah.
it's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I mean we're able to do more now just because we've aged into a place where the people who are able to like before it was like, oh, I gotta talk to my boss. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like 10 years ago, like I gotta talk to my boss because
Bosses
now
now.
we're all like, we all have like something. So it's like, oh, hey, let's congregate and let's come together. But it's
Come
also kind of
together.
it's also kind of crazy because like I'm 37 and like my mom when she was 37 was a different 37. Like she was like settled down.
Well, yeah, 37.
Like
The
had
times
a
have changed,
job.
man.
Yeah, I mean, like
You had
was just
plateaued at 37
it
back
was
in
just
the day. You
settled
was just-
down. Yeah, I mean, had a teenager. Like I was 17. Like I was like and it's a now 37 is like you just kind
Bro,
of.
I never can you look at your parents and they not be 37 at any point? Like I don't remember my parents not being 37 plus.
He's like, when were they young?
I don't
know.
remember. Like my mom's had me. She was I think she was 27 or some shit like that. I don't remember her ever being. I don't remember her aging into, you know, the space that I'm in now, I see her aging now because physically, like you look at the physical ramifications of aging at your parents, but you don't look at like the maturity and where their friends are in life and stuff like that. But now we're like experiencing that shit. Like our friends are really owning shit, like owning the shit that we use. It's
yeah,
crazy.
I mean, I think that we came out of a time period where it was like, sit down, shut up. You're most likely not going to be qualified to be the boss. So don't give me your ideas. And I think that our youth is like, fuck off. Like, I've got great ideas. Either you take my idea and you make some money off of it, or I'll do it myself.
Yeah. I mean, the social media and like the ability to connect in technology and like the the cheapness of that. I mean, like, we're able to do this podcast relatively cheap. This would, like 20 years ago, nobody could afford that.
Right.
Shit.
You'd have to be real cool and be on a daytime talk show.
Yeah, studio and like, I mean, it was a whole different thing or whatever. So like, as the technology became cheaper, we had the ability. Plus, when we aged into a place where, again, like the generation changed. It was like, oh yeah, get a job and go to college and and work until you die. And now you got a gig economy, and it's
right.
like, so you can't even if you wanted to subscribe to just that. It's so rare that it just so you're like, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves. And it seems to be dope. It seems to be working, but it only continues to work. We bring in the youth.
No, I do what I want. I do what I want.
What is in an old fashioned?
Okay,
Smells like tea.
It tastes sweet.
Yeah, so this is actually a little bit sweeter than what I typically make. I make bitter old fashions. So it's bitters, sugar, and usually you're going to want to use a rye. I want to say they used a rye in this guy. Nope, straight bourbon. So yeah, typically people want a rye or a bourbon, a little bit of sugar, some bitters. Stir it up, pour it out.
It's sweet alcohol. It's just alcohol. So what's your favorite cocktail?
Well, it's controversial. A whiskey sour, but a traditional whiskey sour. Now, I'll tell you the funniest story that I was like, oh shit, maybe I've been bartending too long. My daughter and I went out. I won't name the name of the restaurant, but we went out to a restaurant for my birthday. She likes to sit at the bar, so we always go because she's used to like coming in, seeing me work. So she likes to sit at the bar with the cool kids, right? Mm-hmm. So we go inside this restaurant. She sits at the bar. We go in early, so she's after 8 p.m. No kids at the bar. Right. We go in early. She sits at the bar, and the lady comes by. She's like, "Do you guys want some drink?" Callie's like, "Yeah, I want a water." I was like, "Can I have a whiskey sour, please?" The lady walks away. She brings us back some water. I never see this whiskey sour. So finally, she comes back over, and I'm like, "Hey, I see you're busy, no big deal, but like, can you grab me a whiskey sour?" She was like, "Yeah." She comes back over, she hands this drink to me, and it looks like lemonade. And my daughter, and I didn't realize just how much like stuff she had picked up, but she goes, "Man, that's not a whiskey sour." And the lady's like, "Yes, it is. It's whiskey and it's sour mix." And Callie said, "That is a whiskey and sour mix. My mom asked for a whiskey sour."
Ooh, she got a little toot on
And
it.
the lady was like, staring at me, and I was like, a traditional whiskey sour has egg white in it. So it's fluffy, there's no ice, it's this like really pretty light tart drink. And she's like, "I've never made this." And I'm like, no big deal. Like, I was like, if you want to learn, I can give you the recipe and I can show you how to make it. I'm like, "Do you have eggs?" She's like, "Yeah." So she goes in the back, she gets an egg. I go through the whole spiel. You got a little bit of sugar in there. You got to have a lemon. Like ceviche, it cooks the egg. You add your egg white in there. You add some whiskey. You go through this whole process, and at the end of it,
ceviche. What's ceviche?
Have you ever had ceviche where you cook a fish with lemon juice?
No.
Like, so you take acid and you put it over
That's
top
sushi?
of protein, and it cooks it. No, it's cooked.
Just cook that shit.
Yeah, because acid will like cook
Burn
stuff,
it,
right? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
like you get it cut, it burns you, right? So it cooks that egg white and it makes it into this like froth. Kind of like whenever you get a nice like latte, you got froth on top, So it froths this drink.
No idea.
So when you
I've never
drink
had
it, it's
this.
like smooth and it has this like nice texture and it's tart and you got a little bit of like that whiskey, like rye coming out of it. It's a fantastic drink if you make it right. If you make it wrong, it's probably one of the nastiest things you'll
Well, I
ever drink.
think most of us have had whiskey sour mix.
I don't
mix.
think I've ever had a drink with an egg, like with egg in that shit.
Oh, man,
I've
you
not
gotta
had a
experience
whiskey
more cocktails.
froth.
Then
I've
you
never
gotta
had a
like
frothy whiskey at
yeah,
all.
then you got to get
Ooh.
the white out. So like you got to do that whole like back and forth with the yolk
Yeah.
thing or whatever. I've never been able to do that ever. Like, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, it takes some time.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
I can do it now without even like thinking about it. But,
Yeah, nah, that's a whole man. I'm about to fuck up somebody. Somebody gonna get some yolky ass whiskey.
So you
nasty.
You
well,
brought
that
a-
would be a flip. Some drinks have a whole egg.
Oh, they have a whole egg in it.
Some of
you
them do.
ceviche that. You ceviche that bitch
motherfuckers
too.
be using egg on everything.
used to be
when I
saying-
first had an egg on a hamburger, changed my fucking life.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
an egg on a
flips are-
hamburger.
flips are
Oh
one of the
my
oldest
God.
styles of cocktails.
I was like,
You get some
God,
protein in there.
Wait,
you know
what the
I'm
hell does a egg on a burger have to do with a whole egg in a cocktail?
He's just
I'm
saying,
saying
like, that
people
egg
are
might change your
using
life.
eggs for just like
Yeah, no, I mean-
I grew up, eggs were their own thing with breakfast.
Right, you have
Yeah.
eggs, some toast.
I'm
that's
grown now. Motherfuckers is putting eggs on shit that I
Yeah,
never
no, it's
conceived
right. Yeah,
eggs being.
I-
it. Now
well,
we're over here
let's do
dumping
that.
it in whiskey.
We're
Yeah,
dumping them
that's-
in drinks now. Like, what the
A
fuck?
whiskey
That's-
sour is one of the oldest cocktails.
Yeah, they've been doing that shit with eggs for a minute. That's crazy,
Mm-hmm.
man.
So you did introduce a concept that I'd like to discuss here because we are a comedy podcast, and I think we've all been to it. Drinking out with your kids.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, I got
always feel a little weird when I'm out with my kids, and I'm like, look, I'm gonna get them like a milkshake, but I'm gonna have an adult drink. And the friend
Yeah.
always looking at me like, all right, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure.
You know, kids can drive. So, they
So
like
my
DDs.
daughter,
Yeah, just
ever
pick
since she
us
was
up.
little, I used to work at, like bars all over, but one particular one was Voodoo in Meadville, right?
Yeah.
And so she used to crawl around, like she learned how to walk there. Like she used to crawl around in that brewery all the time. And every time she'd always like fall somewhere, I'd be like, look, she's drunk. She got into the beer, right? So it became like this joke. She's 6 now. And it became this joke where whenever she's like kind of getting slap happy or like being a little wild, I'd be like, what are you, drunk? So she's at my bar the other day. Well, I guess it was probably about 2 weeks ago. She's got a little snifter, like the little glasses with the stem, right? She's got it. It's got cherry Coke in it. And she looks over at the whole bar of people and she goes, everyone. And she raises her snifter and she's like, here's to wine. And she takes this snifter and she chugs it. All this cherry Coke, chugs it. She thinks she is so funny that she literally laughs herself off this stool, right? So I catch her, I sit there back up on the stool. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm drunk. And all these people staring at her. And I'm like, oh my God. Somebody's going to call the cops. They're going to be like,
gonna
this
get you
woman's got
arrested.
her kid in here like chugging wine. I'm like, no, sorry guys, that was cherry Coke. It was just cherry Coke, I swear.
I find it like I don't want to hide it from my. I don't want
Right.
to like encourage drinking to them, but I don't want to hide it from them either. It is a delicate balance. You know what I mean? Because like
Well, you
they
teach them.
identify what like when I'm at home and I have my stuff. My son calls it daddy juice, and I forget what my daughter's just like to it. Like she doesn't like it at all because it's harsh to
Right,
like
right.
the smell and all that is a little more or aromatic. But like I'm happy that they recognize that it's something that adults do.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how to, because they're underage, so I can't introduce them to it right now. Like
Right.
way underage. But I know, like, I have people, everybody drink with their 16-year-old, 17. Everybody,
Yeah.
give them a little taste of something. It's something that's, as a parent, like, you do have to manage, because I'm gonna have a cocktail at the house. I'm
Right.
gonna pour me a shot. I'm gonna do something. You know what I mean? And it's not to the point where I'm walking around whatever, but
Right.
y'all talk a lot. That's why I be trying to tell my kids, y'all talk a lot. Like, y'all ask
Yeah,
a lot
I
of fucking
need this
questions.
shot because my brain hurts from listening
Y'all
to
got
this shit.
several, and like y'all don't just have one question. Y'all got like a rapid fire.
My God,
y'all
they
got a
don't.
question on top of a question, exponentially squared to another question. It's like I didn't even answer hello. Like this is shit's
When
crazy.
they have their breaking shit, you're like, oh my God, I can't deal with all this broken stuff. I need a cocktail right now because
So
you
I have-
broke 7 things today.
I have the inquisitive child, and I have the child that just does whatever the fuck he wants to do. So I'm like, I'm dying.
I feel like
at
I got
the-
both in one kid.
I would like both in one kid. I would rather they both have both of those qualities.
Right.
But my daughter's like super inquisitive, and she'll try to push boundaries because she kind of know right and wrong. My son just like, look, I'm gonna do this. What's going?
He's like, I'm about to run into that wall. Watch.
What's about to happen here? let's try this out. And yeah, you gotta take a shot after that.
So I think, like as a parent and as someone in the beverage industry, right? Like I know that I've had people in my life be like, oh, like don't tell your daughter you work at a bar. And I'm like, I'm not ashamed of what I do. I go back here and I create things and I give an environment to people that, to a lot of people is therapy. And it's not that the drinking is therapy. And I think that that's where people kind of get messed up, right?
Right.
Like that's when you become an alcoholic, whenever you're using alcohol for therapy. it's that community that people miss. That's what makes that good bar. When you walk in and your bartender cares if you had a bad day and can give you some advice or even just listen to you vent, like you're creating this space for people to be able to come back into that real world situation and be better.
Yeah, the Cheers model.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people walk into my bar and, you know, they're like, "Oh, you know, I did this the other day." And I'll tell them, I'll be like, "Hey, that was fucked up. Like, you should never do that again." Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. You're on my side of the bar, and I'm telling you right now, whatever that situation was, it was wrong. Maybe you should go apologize to your wife. Maybe you should stop talking to your coworker that way. Whatever. But it's become that community. It's not that I'm back here like trying to just get everybody fucked up. We're building, you know, a space, like a safe space for everybody. And so when I talk to my daughter about, you know, drink, she'll ask me. To her, it's potions, right? So I'm taking all these ingredients and I'm building something out of it that's unique to me. And it's not that I'm like, oh man, I'm just going to get fucked up at my house. But I'm like, but sometimes there are things. And I told her, I was like, it's like soothing. Like, you know, she likes her back scratched. I'm like, I like wine on a Sunday night. It's the thing. So I also talk to her a lot about balance because we talk about that with food too, right? Like it's not that you can't have 7,000 pieces of candy. You can, but you're going to feel sick. You also probably shouldn't drink a whole bottle of Hennessy to yourself now, should you? So
I'm
he's
gonna
like,
have to
health.
balk against that. I'm gonna have to know. Are we talking about this 375?
Oh, that 375 could be crushed real quick.
You're talking about a fifth, and I think I'm an alcoholic. I might drink alcohol to soothe that time. Just because Drake did that to us, though. Drake had you sitting by the windowsill when it's raining, drinking Hennessy,
right?
Having all your emotions come out, but that's not healthy.
Yeah,
I don't
teach
think
them
that,
balance, man.
Yeah, I don't think that you can, you know, like with kids. Like I've always taken the, you know, you can't really censor them. They know the technology better than we do. They have access to information. You have to educate. That's really all that you can do. I mean, that's really the safest. I mean, that's really, if you look at like a lot of the issues in, you know, humanity or whatever, education solves a lot of that shit. So, you know, I mean, censorship, you're building fear and like they're going to unhealthy habits that they're learning elsewhere. But if you just kind of like, hey, this is what it is. Let's not hide it. Let's be open about it. Then it doesn't become, you know, that taboo that they're running towards, you know, when they get older. What are some of the things that you do, I guess, to let folks know that it is, you know, an inclusive environment and that, you know, it is welcoming and a safe space for folks? Like,
I don't think there's any, you know, signage that you can put up on a wall that makes people feel at home. I think it's the way you treat people. And you know, I mean, I've fired bartenders before for the way that they've spoken to people. And I'm not one of those people. When I'm behind my bar, I'm like back there motherfucking everybody, you know, like I just am who I am. And I've never been someone who I'm going to sit there and be like, oh, you know, you can't curse or you can't talk about your personal life or, you know, if you're behind that bar and you're treating people with respect, everyone's going to in return respect to you. I very, very rarely have someone being outrageous. I very rarely have someone in there trying to start a fight or, you know, trying to reach across the bar and like grab me, you know, like none of those things happen because I give them respect and in return they respect me. And so when people come in, I ask them about their lives. Like I ask them, you know, oh, do you have any kids? You know, what do you do for work? What are you from Pittsburgh? You're not? Oh, cool. Well, if you're here, why are you here? Well, since you're here, you know, support our community. This is a part of Pittsburgh is we're huge on locality. You know, be a part of us. And in return, these people come in and when they're having a hard day or they can tell I'm having a hard day, they care. They give a fuck. You know, I'm going through a whole custody thing right now. And like, I have people coming in and like dropping off stuff for my daughter. Like, hey, you know, I know you guys are just going through a weird moment, but here's something like maybe this will make you guys feel better.
That's excellent.
Yeah. And it's just
that feeling of the community
respect.
gotta feel real good.
Yeah.
So what with bartending, what sort of customer service training is involved, if any?
None.
Okay, because like, are you just like when you're looking at a hire, are you looking like, you know what, you got a good person now? Because there's some service, there's management. You know, you gotta when you're managing a bar, you got different sections that you're dealing with, and how do you? It's
a type of person, man. There's a personality that makes a good bartender.
So what's like one question interviews that you always ask?
Ask people if they bake. If they bake and if they read.
Okay.
If you read, it shows me that you care to be educated. You're not someone who just kind of like mooches. That's not even a word. Mooches. Tidbits off of other people. You go out and you educate yourself. And that shows me that if I'm not behind that bar with them and I walk away, they'll figure it out. I don't have to be there. They will go around until they'll mash enough buttons until that thing starts working, right?
You take it for baking. Patience.
And I ask them if they're baking because it shows me they're attentive. So you can cook. You can throw a bunch of pasta in a bowl and you can figure it out. And 90% of the time, if you don't follow a recipe, you'll be fine. But when you bake, everything is so scientific. You have the amount of baking. You can't just grab shit.
No.
It's got to be serious.
So I'm not getting a job. I don't bake.
You ain't getting no job, no.
Fuck.
I can stovetop, man. I can whip some shit together. I cannot bake, man.
It's a whole nother beast.
I make really good French fries. They're they're baked. I broiled.
Broiling it. Gotcha.
I've also set.
He's the grill master, I bet.
No.
You ain't a grill master? What?
No.
That is the easiest shit to do.
The easiest shit to do is to show up to the barbecue with a bottle of Hennessy.
That's everybody's like, we don't need food from him. It's fine.
Easiest thing to do. Like,
He
if you
provides
got
alcohol.
the grill, I got the Hennessy. We both equally contributed. Great. But no, so I wouldn't be hired.
I feel
by
like
you.
that's me in my dating life. I just show up with alcohol and I'm like, here, I found this really cool beer.
So how
Want to
does
hang out?
how does that work? So you're in the industry. You're out late. You know what I mean, with your job. Like, how does someone where do they take you?
Yeah,
if you want to go out for drinks after.
I've had some interesting times. I've had a guy ask me out on a date, and we went to a bar, and the person covered our tab because they were like, "Hey," I actually didn't even know this bartender, but they were like, "Hey, I looked at whenever I typed your tab and I looked at your name. Anything you want, food, drink, whatever, it's on me. Like, I appreciate you trying to do things for our community as a bartender, so everything's on me, no big deal." And I've had a dude freak out. Dude's like, what do you think? I can't pay for her drinks? And he's like, no, man, I'm trying to be nice to her because she's helping our community. And I'm like, man, this is an awkward situation. I'm just trying to have a drink.
That was a weird reaction.
It was strange. We definitely didn't go on another date. That's for sure.
That's terrible.
Do you deal with that often? Like, men freaking out about you being in a power situation? Because you are kind of an expert at what you do, and if they're not,
and it's weird too because when I go places, I know so many people, and I'm also such a social person that when I go out, if I see all these people, I'm like, oh, hey, that's so and so from wherever, blah blah blah, got it. And sometimes men have been like, nah, I ain't hanging out with you. You know everybody. But now I've learned, if someone doesn't want to be a part of the creative experience that I'm doing, then it's not going to work. They're not going to find time to hang out with me. I work primarily on the weekend. Most people work primarily during the week. Right. So they're going to have to find a way to balance with me and how we mesh. And in return, I will respect that they have to be up super early on a Monday morning, whereas I don't.
I'd say that balance is a lot easier to find when you by virtue of your name are covering the tabs. I don't see that as an issue at all. That's not a problem for me.
What about in the industry and in the work environment where especially you got a lot of alcohol flowing and shit like that, and aggressive, and you're an expert and you have to train a lot of men and whatnot. I'm sure, it's probably a lot of issues that you have to deal with in that regard where ego is a little bruised at times.
I found with human beings in general, if you come from a place like I'm teaching you this, I'm educating you in this area, I'm, showing you these things and I'm showing them to you because it's going to make you better, which in return is going to make you more money and not necessarily just behind the bar, but in life. The better you are at taking advice from other people, the better you can listen when people speak, the better you're going to be in any situation you're ever in. So sometimes I do get the guys that are like, I don't want to listen to this 5'2" chick tell me about a fucking old fashioned. And what I'll do is I'll be like, all right, let's have a showdown. You make that drink, I'll make this drink, and let's see which one fucking tastes better. And you know what? If yours is better than mine, cool. Then I'll do what you say. But if mine's better than yours, you're gonna fucking listen to me.
What's the rating system on that though?
You can tell.
Okay.
Yeah, you can watch.
That's somebody who make better drinks.
You
all the
can
time.
watch someone's face. And even down to I've had people.
I'll be winning. That's
I've
what
had
she just
people
told
be
me.
like, "Oh,
Yo, mouth.
I've had people be like, "Oh, I'm going to
Masquerading
rebuild
system.
this bar and make it. I'm going to set everything up this way because I think it's better." And I'll be like, "Okay, go work that way." And then whenever at the end of the night you feel more exhausted, maybe you want to put it back the way I built it.
So you're
I let people trial and error it. I got no problem with it.
you're in a competition. What does what does progression in bartending look like? I mean, like what are the skills that you're honing? Like, I mean, on a regular basis to be, competition ready. I mean,
Right. I never wanted really to do the cocktail competitions. That wasn't a big thing. I do them, and it's funny because we as competitors, we always joke around and we're like, "I'm going to beat you into the ground, like fuck off." And we have so many amazing bartenders in Pittsburgh, and I just love how big it's getting here because in return, we're sending people to other states representing us. And so I do them to get them bigger. Like the more bartenders that are signing up, the better the drinks that are coming out, the bigger our community is going to be, and the better we can represent our community. But I do all the weird, like I like to make things that people, when they look at it, they're like, "I'm probably not going to like that." And they drink and they're like, "This is fucking good," But we have that competition on the 27th hosted by the City Paper. It's, I have Wiggle Whiskey as my spirit. That's what they pick your spirit. Sometimes, like I entered for the Woodford competition, and obviously you're using Woodford. This one, they're selecting things for us. So I got Wiggle Whiskey, and then there's going to be a mystery ingredient.
Oh, like what's that chef show when they be doing this shit and they be like, "All right, I gave you a
They
graham
give you a
cracker,
time.
a pineapple, an onion, and whatever. Make a cake." You're like, "What the fuck?"
How the fuck am I going to? That's kind of what this competition is. Yeah, they're like, "Here's a pantry full of items. You have to use these 2 items, mandatory. You have, an hour. Batch everything together, and it's got to be ready for the judges, and it's got to be ready for the public." Go.
Do they limit the number of items you can use if they give you like?
Sometimes some competitions do. This one does not.
Damn.
Yeah.
Shit. See, I
Give you
fancy
no
myself
eggs,
a great barbecue bartender. Because at the bar you just making shit up.
Yeah, you just throwing it.
People get lit.
Do you know what goes great with Hennessy?
Everything
Is Red Ribbon vanilla cream soda.
I can see it.
Sip it on the
Just
side.
vanilla green soda.
It's
I
dope.
can see that. I appreciate the fact that you've had Hennessy.
Well, we actually keep it behind the bar. We keep a couple
Why
things.
motherfuckers don't do that?
We keep a couple things behind the bar that's not Pennsylvania, but it's back there, and it's not for the public sales. It's back there for us.
But why do bars not have Hennessy?
Because I think that people fell into that mindset where like, "Oh, we're not, like a dive bar in the ghetto. I'm not having Hennessy," because they're not educated.
Motherfucker, man.
I mean, I feel like this entire podcast is we've been talking about education, right?
it's been
Better.
You know why they ain't got no motherfucking Henny in there. When you walk in or you go.
Well,
"Hey,
I needed to ask. I need to ask a white person why they don't have Hennessy because she got
and they
it.
be like, "Nah, we got Crown Royal."
And that'd be fucking me up.
Which,
Damn well
that's
they be
ridiculous.
like, "Nah,
You know what, though?
motherfucker."
You've learned after this podcast why they should carry Hennessy.
Hmm.
And you should tell them, "Hey, if you support minorities and not just black and white, I'm talking like I said, like LGBTQ communities, you're looking at funding all female schools and colleges. You should tell them if you want to support the people of the United States, you better put Hennessy behind
I ain't
the bar.
giving everybody the moves. I gotta really like your bartender
Mm.
to tell you that. That's crazy. I enjoy listening to people speak about something that they're an expert in. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
And it's just newer. It's a newer concept to me, even being one of the drinking partners and talking to people. And people are experts on cocktails. Like they're experts on the history and you know what I mean. Like I'm just you grow up as a consumer. There are a couple things that go together: Hen and Coke. And then Cam made this all Henny and apple juice was like a thing. I was like, oh shit.
Our Epic Nights of Comedy started with the cocktail.
My boy Kamal
Yeah,
fucking
I mean,
doing that shit. Like,
mixologist.
yeah, that shit's crazy. Like people really need to, and you mentioned, I don't know if it was this cast or the previous, where like both it was this one where you're talking about people not wanting their children to go into this beverage industry or frowning upon such.
Right.
But like you really gotta open your mind, man. Like motherfuckers gonna be drinking forever.
Yeah.
Like, people
Yeah, it's an industry that'll never die. That's for damn sure.
It's just gonna be around.
It survived Prohibition. People were still fucked up during Prohibition.
It's like immune to automation.
Right.
Like even if they have a robotic bartender, it will only do the regulars. It'll play the classics. It won't have that traditional whiskey sour in it. You know what I mean? It'll do the whiskey sour mix, but it won't have that. Like there's something of a human feel on every drink. Every drink that slid to you across the bar has that human feel. It's like a connection
that's what
between
makes
me
a
and
good
that
bartender.
person.
It's like a band, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like playing live, like it has its natural, like, you know what I mean, kind of rhythm and offbeat kind of whatever, because that's the life. If you just have, you know, a machine is like tick, bit, 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 you know what I mean? You don't get any of that variation that is.
And
life.
bartending's a show, man. If you watch
Yeah.
a good bartender, it's not just back there pouring beers. It's the, you know, the angle they're pouring the beers at. It's the way that they move throughout all these customers. It's the, you know, the way that they stir. It's everything.
I worked in the restaurant industry my whole life, and the bartender was always like the coolest motherfucker in the whole goddamn building.
You got to be, because if you can't mesh with every different type of human being that could walk in that place, you're gonna fail.
And you got to manage them conversations all at once.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you about sports, you about politics, me and you. I've
It's crazy how I
That
can
shit
forget what
crazy.
day of the week it is, but like someone can walk in and I know all their kids' names, dogs' names, fucking anniversary is, and you're like, God damn, what the
I
hell's
can't work
happening
in
to my
that
brain?
industry. If that's a prereq, I can't.
Right.
I'm gonna forget your name. Not you. You
I'm like,
probably,
you-
but not you in
what's
particular. not
How
you
dare you.
specifically, but I'm saying like I will meet some. Look, I got this thing where I can meet you, and then about halfway through the conversation, I'm like, I don't know your
I
name.
forgot your name.
What
as you were saying it.
Because when you meet somebody, the intro is not like the main. It's not the entree. It's like we could connect. Like if I meet Day tonight, and all of a sudden we find out we love craft beer, we talking about all these craft beers and shit, and then we about to spin off. We're like, yo, put your number. I mean, now you asking for people's grams or people's face. Like
Right.
you're not even getting the name
my
anymore.
God.
Like I know people Instagram name, but I don't know they fucking real government name anymore. Like, that
You know
shit
what
crazy.
though? I'll challenge you to do this from now on. Every person you meet before you leave, make sure you say their name before you leave, because that is the most.
I
like,
did when
crucial-
I asked you what's your name.
Yeah.
Then that's it. I
That's
said it.
one of the most crucial things you can ever do to any person. It's the sweetest word you'll ever hear in your ears is your name.
That's why
I
they
mean,
make
so
you
when
say their
people
name
walk into
during
the bar,
sex.
that's huge. If I walk behind the bar, that's how also I can tell a good bartender is if I walk back there and I'm like, hey, what's his tab? And they're like, oh, I don't fucking know. Go ask him. Learning people's names, it makes them feel so fucking special. And in return, people walk in my bar, they open up the door and they're like, Denise, we missed you. I'm like, man, it makes you feel good.
It does.
You're
but
the
I
queen of the
also
world.
have 246 episodes of me saying my name. I just met you tonight. Like I'm not gonna remember that shit.
Yeah,
I should-
get to know people's names, man.
Yeah,
And
I should definitely do a
should
better
be
job
better.
of trying to.
Oh, without question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have it, and it's hard because, like, I feel at a disadvantage, and I've always felt at a disadvantage because, like, it's like, oh,
that deep
like
ass
Kate
voice.
and like Kyle and Kevin,
Remember
and
that.
like my name is Today, like it's like a day, like it's like. If you have like a weird name, like weird names, I always remember the weird names. I'm like, oh, that's weird name. You know what I mean? Like, and that like is standing out. And like, and like I always remember like personalities. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so if you have a personality and you got a weird name, then I'm gonna get, whatever.
stand out.
But I mean, I'm just saying, man, if your name is John,
You better be real
and you
cool.
and you a white bearded dude with a flannel, and I meet you in a brewery. Listen, man, I might not remember.
Nobody
you,
knows who the fuck you are.
Next time I see you, John, my bad. Like I mean, but you don't get points for remembering the black dude with the weird ass name like that.
Right.
It's kind of a little. It's a little
Skewed to
little
your
skewed.
advantage.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like,
you had to drop one.
yeah, like, hey.
My name is Ed, and people be fucking that up. I'm like,
Aaron, how the fuck
David?
If your mama named you Aaron, I hope that somebody would have smacked her. The nurse would have smacked her and been like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I got a friend named Aaron. I didn't understand it.
Aaron,
I didn't
A.A. Ron.
Well, we do AA Ron. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Ron. I don't know.
No, there was this one girl in high school that she would like. Her name was Erin, and she would like she wanted to spell it AIR-N, and like
She wasn't ERIN.
Well, it was ERIN,
Okay.
but she would tell everybody like, "Oh, call me Air."
She wanted
Like
to spin
like
on it.
Aeropostale. She tried to Aeropostale it.
I didn't. Yeah, like I didn't fully.
Aeropostale.
Oh my god.
Fuck. All right. I try to give him an opportunity, but tell people.
Yeah, no.
Find some
So, what is your
Damn it,
what's
I
your favorite
told
form
you
of
what-
potato?
What's my what?
What's your favorite form of potato?
Of potato?
Mhm.
Like, ooh, in vodka?
There you go. I was
Yeah.
gonna say
I
vodka.
like if
I'm
you
like,
did,
I mean,
if
potatoes are okay, but like, I'd rather just have something to drink.
you are the first person in
Yeah,
all of
so
these
vodka.
episodes.
No,
to
I think somebody said vodka.
Did somebody say vodka? I said
think
vodka.
Maybe.
No, I think a couple
I
episodes
literally
ago,
said
It don't
somebody
count
said
if he says
vodka.
it.
I literally a couple episodes said I'm surprised nobody has ever said vodka, and
Potato vodka,
it is
I
yes
should listen
that
to
is
it more
amazing.
so I can know exactly who said
That
vodka.
is
Someone
amazing.
did say vodka.
Somebody say vodka.
He's gonna go back and
couple
listen
episodes.
to every
I'm not gonna do it.
over 200 episodes.
If you were
looking for
if you were the
vodka.
guest listening to this episode, if you were to hit us
The
up,
Conways know.
Hey, the Conways.
I'll hit up
know.
Kathleen.
Yeah,
She'll be like, all
she'll
right.
be like, who was the other vodka? That is a great use of potato.
Yeah, vodka.
Potato vodka, Penn State, 2000 and I believe 6 or 7. I was extremely fucked up.
We
It
all
was
have
like
to say.
potato forward vodka. We were stranded out in Penn State because
And you're like,
we were-
well, I'm gonna be here. Might as
No,
well
no,
be
no,
done.
no, no. We got stranded because of the potato vodka.
Oh,
It was-
shit.
it was-
He's like, plane not going home. Never gonna happen.
What is your favorite cocktail with vodka?
With potato vodka?
Yeah.
Oh, a blackberry martini.
A black.
Damn, just right off the top
Fuck,
of your
but I've been on a
head.
Bloody Mary kick too. Like I love me some Bloody Marys.
Have I been
Potato
so
vodka's
how?
great.
Okay, so how are and we gonna go because Buzzy's on stroke.
He's over here yelling at us.
How-
Get the fuck off.
No, he did 5 minutes about 7 minutes ago. So we're
17.
still respectful at this point. It gets to a point where it's like, come on, fam. I'll ask you off the air. All right, let the people know where they can find you.
Hey, and if you're looking for us, you can find us on epicassnetwork.com.
Oh, her.
Oh, wait. You can
But
tell this is two or two.
Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, so I have a very strange Instagram handle that I've had since Instagram first came out, and I've refused to change it. And it's Denise, that's DENISE _, because underscores are cool. And then do, so it's DEUX, means two in French. And then, I'm down at the Tavern on 19th Street.
Hot
Okay.
Sharks Part D.
Denise Doe.
Ooh.
It's New Orleans like.
Yeah, my best friend's name is Denise, so I never wanted people to call her like the other Denise or number 2. So instead, I labeled myself number 2.
I named my son the 4th because I'm gonna let motherfuckers know that he came out my balls. Then let the people know where they
Good
can
Lord.
find us.
Hey, man, if you're looking for us, not in his balls, it's more likely on epicassnetwork.com/partnerspot. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher Lips, and Google Play, and Spotify under Drinking Partners. And you can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at Partnerspot.
Listen, we want to thank our guest Denise Greenway for coming through. Edutainment at its finest.
Thanks for having me.
Make sure you go check out the Tavern. Give them the address.
110 19th Street. It's
Yeah.
down the strip.
Check it out. Have a good experience. Not just good cocktails, not just a good time, but good experience. Get educated, man. Get some learning while you're drinking. You know, when's the better time to learn than when you're sitting there enjoying yourself? Make education fun, even if you're an adult. You know what I'm saying? And as always, Drinking Partners is the crew. Epicast is the family, and we out. Y'all cocktail motherfuckers are like really like well versed on this shit. I respect y'all. So then what are those interviews like? Like when they interview you for some shit like, or did they interview you? No, they just offer. Like it's weird because the evaluation system is so different. Like it's hard. I imagine